time is it?
Way's word of the day.
What time is it? It's time for Wade's Word of the Day.
My girl, Judy!
What time is it? It's time for Wade's Word of the Day.
What you say now? Everybody! We need Jesus. Everybody need Jesus. So glad we need Jesus. Every day we need Jesus. Every day. So glad for Jesus. So glad. Everybody need Jesus. Pass away. I need Jesus. You need Jesus. For your healing. For your breakthroughs in the turnaround. Everybody say Jesus. What you need? Hey, I need Jesus. Everybody, we need Jesus. What you say? We need Jesus. Everybody say we need Jesus. Man, what is going on, everybody? What is going on? It's Wade's Word of the Day, Wade's Word of the Day, and I'm so excited to be with you all. Here it is 12:30, 2021. Man, we are coming to the end of 2021. Wow. Seems like, man, we were just celebrating 2021 coming in. I want to talk a little bit about that tonight. Get your pens and get your pads ready because I want to give you 8 reasons, if you will, or 8 things that I relearned in 2021. So make sure you get your pen and pad. Make sure you do that. Also, hey, I've been trying to have a stars party since we started this. You know what I mean? I've been trying to have a stars party. Who wants to have a stars party with me? You know, every time you hit that stars button, yeah. 1 star represents basically a penny. So if you do 50 stars, that's 50 cents. So do me a favor. Yeah, come on, let's have that first stars party tonight. And all you got to do is just hit that stars button. I'm going to hit it. Why don't y'all help me out? Let me get my camera right. Looks like my camera is acting funny. So let's do this one more time. Here we go.
Gotta act like we just okay. What time is it? It's time for Wade's Word of the Day.
What time is it?
Way's word of the day.
What time is it? It's time for Wade's Word of the Day.
My girl, Judy!
What time is it? It's time for Wade's Word of the Day.
Think we may be back, and hopefully we are. Yeah, we are. Let me know if you're seeing me coming through real quick. Why isn't my screen? All right, there we go. I think we are good to go. So everybody hit that stars button real quick. Like I said, let's have a stars party. Yeah, all right. Woo. All right, I think we got the video. Rakia, producer, let me know if we are good to go with the video. I think that we're coming through fine just now. All right, there you go. Sound loud and clear. Thank you, Ray. So, hey, y'all know in this space, we don't tear down, we lift up, we encourage, we speak to those things that speak to us, all of those things. So excited to see everyone who has made their way into the space tonight. Nina, Ray, Shakira, Rakia, and everyone else. Nina Holmes, thank you for coming into the space because, yeah, in this space, we don't tear down, we lift up, we encourage, we speak to those things that speak to us, all of those things. Matter of fact, we tell our negative thinking, no negative thinking, just positive thinking. We tell our haters to put it where? Everybody say it with me, way, way back there. And certainly we tell our fear, we ain't walking in fear, we walking in faith. Yeah, that's what we're doing. And we've been doing that all through 2021. Did I tell you tonight that what I want to talk to you about tonight is basically 8 things that I relearned in 2021. So get your pens and your pads ready. Also, if you have any questions, make sure that you put your question in the comment section, and my producer will make sure that I get that question. Make sure that I get that question. But hey, what I really need to do right now is try to send you a little bit of good energy to get us started. Here we go.
So I'm sending good energy to all my friends and enemies. Can't expect something different if you acting the same. If it don't make sense, it'll never bring change. Sending good energy to all my friends and enemies. Can't expect something different if you acting the same. If it don't make sense, it'll never bring change. I be trying to teach him, I be trying to reach him. I've been preaching like Reverend Run DMC, Adidas sneakers. People really need to take another peek deep inside. They fighting demons so they weaken, all they need is the light. This is why we look ahead, never behind, never slip and slide. Focus on the climb, hocus pocus time. Happiness is magical, actual joy. It'll make you clap your hands and make actual noise like kindness. Let it flow through you, your skin start shining. You'd be so happy, can't even hide it. Every day would leave you delighted. It's cause of fear the people keep fighting. So I'm sending good energy to
All right. Yeah, we are sending good energy. We almost there. We almost there. Hey, Stars Party is complete. Thank you all so much on tonight. Thank you for helping us to have a wonderful Stars Party. Hey, you know what that just did for us? Yeah, that just added $50. Man, see, God is good. Y'all are wonderful and y'all are marvelous. Just because y'all did that, I'm gonna send a few more stars. Yeah. Wow. It's amazing. It's amazing, man. So good to have you all in the space. Keep going crazy, hitting that stars button. We certainly appreciate it. We want to finish out the year strong. Y'all remember what our goal was, to finish out on all of our platforms, 3,500. We can do it even with 2 days left. Tomorrow night, we are closing the year right here. Wade's Word of the Day. It is our New Year's Eve special. It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be marvelous. New Year's Eve celebration. Bring your own hat, bring your own streamers, and all of that good stuff, because we're just going to have a good time tomorrow around 8 p.m. So make sure that you tell everybody you know. Tell them to tune in. Tell them to get connected. Tell them to come on in the room. Yeah, come on in the room and help us to celebrate the new year. So here we go. Here we go. You still got time to take your finger, let it do the talking, and holler at somebody tonight. Tell them to come on in the space. Tell them to come on in the space. Let's finish strong. Yeah. So y'all know what to do. Holler at somebody. Yeah. Invite them in. Like and share. That's all. Yeah. Like and share. It's really that simple. Can you do that tonight? Yeah. Tag, text, and tell somebody. Tag, text, and tell somebody. Tell them to come in the room. So here we go. 8 things. Write them down. 8 things. 8 things that I relearned. And what I mean when I say relearn, I'm just putting that emphasis on it, right? Emphasis. Some things that 2021 has taught us. Number 1, right from the beginning, life is short. Yeah. 2021 reminded us that life was short. 2020, but 2021, just people anticipating getting back to, this kind of normal thing, but it didn't happen. And we saw, and even right now at the end of this year, we're seeing certain things in our state and in our city where numbers are going up. But here is the reality. Life is short. And I don't know about you, but it feels like throughout these last couple of years, I went to bed, at like 40 and I woke up and it's like 60. You know what I mean? Because just so many ebbs and flows, so many ebbs and flows. And so when you recognize that life is short, right? That's right, Judy. Yes, it's hitting home. When you recognize that life is short, you got to stop putting off today what you think you'll have another day to do. Yeah. In other words, when you recognize that life is short, if it matters, you need to get busy doing it. Whatever it is that you believe is the purpose and the plan that God has for your life, you need to get started today. Stop putting off tomorrow what you can do today. Yeah, I just had a funeral on yesterday, and I reminded the folk, hey, we all got to come this way. You know, the only two things that's guaranteed in this life, is you're going to die and you're going to pay some taxes. And so if there is anything that is vital, that is important, that's going to lead to you moving in the spaces and the places that God would have for you to move into, get started. Stop putting it off. Stop waiting for somebody else to offer you an opportunity to sit at their table. Build your own. Did y'all hear me? Yeah, I said stop waiting for somebody to offer you an opportunity to sit at their table and begin to build your own. Find people who can get behind the vision that God has placed on your heart and move in it. Why? Because life is short. We've been reminded of that. Number two, you still got time to holler at some folk and tell them to come in because I'm speaking to them tonight. Yeah, 8 things that 2021 has reminded us of. Number one was life is short. Number two, you've got to limit your contact with toxic people. Limit your contact with toxic people. I'm going to give you time to write that down. Yeah. 2021 taught us not only that life was short, but we've got to stop fooling around with toxic people, negative people, people who are always putting you down, who ain't trying to go nowhere and trying to prevent you from going anywhere. You've got to limit your contact with toxic people. Remember last night, I said you got to be careful of who you allow into your ear gate. Because if you're just allowing a lot of negative talking, a lot of negative people in your space, you'll find yourself being negative. So you've got to limit. That's what it taught us. Hey, man, I got to limit myself in terms of who I allow in my circle. Yeah, you've got to limit your contact with toxic people. And here's the reality. We all know a few toxic people. Always negative, love to complain, mean, ungrateful, love to gossip, rude, and they don't care anything about themselves, and they certainly don't care anything about others. Some of y'all calling them friends. Yeah, you've got to limit your contact with toxic people. If you listen, if you want to grow, you've got to cut off some folk who all they bring to your life is negativity. That's what we learned in 20. Our relationships need to be meaningful, right? So that's number two. Limit your contact with toxic people. We've learned that in 2021. And let me say it like this. If you should never get into a space where you're trying to argue your position as it relates to who you are. If you ever have to get into a shouting contest with somebody about who you are, you have already lost. And that's what toxic people try to do. They try to throw you off of your game. They try to convince you that you're not who God has created you to be. And if you got to be in a shouting match or conversation with folk trying to prove who you are, then you've already lost. You have already allowed them to win. That's right, Rakia. Explain yourself to no one but God. As it relates to who you are. You understand what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to explain certain things, but as it relates to your person, if you're trying to get into a space where you are all bent out of shape and you're trying to argue with who people think you should be, then you've already lost. Your 2021 taught us that. And so you've got to limit yourself to having toxic people all around you. Number 3, 2021 taught us that everybody don't want to grow with you. It really did, because 2021 taught us that you have to be able to move organically, that you have to be able to bob and weave, that you have to be willing to see things a little bit different, move a little bit different. And everybody don't want to do that. In a world where God is trying to show us, you trying to get back to a place that I'm trying to move you from. There are a whole lot of people who want to be stuck in, who wanted to stick and stay in what they perceive to be normal, and it is no longer normal. You've got to understand that everybody don't want to grow with you, and those who don't want to grow with you can't go with you. Let me say it again. Those who don't want to grow with you can't go with you. Now, oftentimes they'll make it seem like you acting funny. No, I'm just growing. I'm just maturing. I'm growing up. They'll start to say things, in my profession, they'll start to say things as it relates to, oh, I'm just not learning anything else. No, you're learning a lot. And what you're learning is making you uncomfortable. Because you're more comfortable staying where you are, and you don't want to grow. And people start to tell you, they'll start to say, you acting funny. No, I'm not acting funny. I'm just growing. I'm not thinking the way that I used to think. I'm not moving the way that I used to move. My priorities have changed, and you have a right to change your priorities. You have a right to see your world differently. And so you've got to recognize that everybody don't want to grow with you. There's something to be said about when Abraham is going up the mountain. When he gets to a certain point on his journey up the mountain, he has to turn to some of them who are with him and say, y'all stay right here. Because you all are not ready to go where I'm going. And there's nothing wrong with that. And some folk will try to beat you up. Some folk will try to criticize you. Some folk will try to talk about you. But here's the reality. On your journey of life, there are some people that you are taking along with you, and they're holding you down. They have become weights because they don't want to grow. And at every step you going up, you trying to move by faith, and all they bringing in is fear. You sure you won't go that way? You sure that's the right decision? Well, I don't know. Maybe you ought to rethink this, reevaluate that. They have become weights. If there is something that you're trying to do as it relates to growth, and over these last 2 years, you just look around and you say, they don't want to grow, then they don't have the capacity to go where you are going. And you should never feel bad about growing. And you should never feel bad about outgrowing someone or something. Let me say that again. You should never feel bad about outgrowing someone or something. And there are some folk who are in your circle, some folk who are in your space. They're showing you over and over and over, I don't want to grow. Let me give you an example. When you're just running a mom and pop operation, and somebody comes along, initially to help a little bit, that's like a blessing. That's a blessing. You're like, woo, that's a blessing. That's a blessing. Helping you with the mom and pop and everything like that. But when you begin to grow that organization to a place where it's no longer mom and pop, and that individual who at the beginning was a blessing, but they are not willing to move or build out their capacity to where you are, that now becomes a curse. Because at every level that you are trying to strive to get, they're trying to pull you back to mom and pop. And you find yourself at every step of the way turning and having a debate with them on why they don't want to grow with you. You try to tell them, go back to school. They don't want to go back. You try to tell them, okay, you don't want to go back to school. Read a few books. They don't want to read no books. You try to tell them, hey, we're in the age of technology. You got to learn how to get on Zoom. You got to learn how to navigate your phone. You got to learn how to pay online. And they still talking about, I don't do that. I don't trust. The whole world is navigating that way. There are some spaces where they don't take cash, y'all. As crazy as it may seem. And even now in our world, they running out of change, y'all. Have you gone to any store and they got these signs out here talking about we're low on coins. If you have any coins, please give us. Or they're saying I rolled through, what did I roll through this afternoon? I think I rolled through Taco Bell or something. And they was like, hey, the only way we can help you today is you have correct change or you paying with a card. And so even as it relates to the church, and you talking about you don't want to give online, you still looking for a basket. Newsflash, the basket is antiquated. And so if folk don't want to grow with you, you should never feel bad about growing. Somebody ought to say, I know that's right. I know that's right. That's number 3. Number four, here it is. This is a big one. Number 4, 2021 helped us to relearn some things. Just because you don't understand it don't mean it's wrong. Just because you don't understand it doesn't mean that it's wrong. In our context, we try to call everything a sin. Maybe it's not a sin. Maybe you just don't understand it. Folk are still saying today, don't you bring that phone in this church. Don't you have that phone on. You disrespecting the Lord. No, I'm not disrespecting the Lord. My Bible is on my phone. And then they try to make you feel bad. I like the paperback. That's when you're really spiritual, when you're reading it on the paperback. The last time that I checked, it's the Word of God. And if I find the Word of God on my phone or on my tablet or in the paperback, that's preference. That has nothing to do with right or wrong. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? You dig? If we are doing church online and You going in person, that ain't right or wrong. That's preference. And just because you don't understand it doesn't make it wrong. I'm helping somebody tonight. Yeah, I'm helping somebody. And so you got to open your mind and you got to open your imagination. The Bible is clear. The word of God doesn't change, but God's methods have changed quite frequently. If you read your Bible, just looking at Jesus in terms of how he healed people, sometimes he touched, sometimes they touched him. Sometimes he went into the house, sometimes he pulled the people outside of the house. Sometimes he spit in the ground, put it on their eye. Sometimes he didn't even go to the house. He just spoke a word. And even in his day, there was a whole lot of people who didn't understand. They were still caught up on why you healing somebody on the Sabbath day. On the Sabbath day, we ain't supposed to be doing nothing. Failing to realize it's about the healing and not about your tradition. And so just because you don't understand it doesn't mean that it's wrong. You dig? Number five. Y'all learning something? If you're learning something, just say, I'm learning something tonight. Yeah. Number five. Here it is. Number five. Is it number five? Yes, it's number five. 2021 taught us that communication is big. That, especially in terms of leadership, you ought to err on the side of over communicating. In other words, you're going to have to learn how to communicate in all of these new ways of communicating. You're going to have to build up your communication skills, not just verbally, but you're going to have to be able to get tapped into all of these spaces where people are communicating. I was telling somebody today, and I've told you all this over and over again. You still talking about the church need to be out there knocking on doors. Ain't nobody opening up no doors, but I tell you what, you go to social media, you'll find all the people you want. But if you don't know how to operate in the spaces where the people are located, and if you don't know how to communicate in that language, if you don't know what a hashtag is, if you don't know how to tag, if you don't know how to share, these are all of the ways that we are communicating. Who has a house phone? Nobody. This phone does a lot more than just afford you the opportunity to make a phone call. I can put my whole, matter of fact, I do, in some of these devices. You understand what I'm saying? And so you're going to have to learn all of these various forms of communicating and be willing to use them. Sometimes I text. Sometimes I send an email. Sometimes I pick up my phone and I call everybody in there and we do a voice video call. Sometimes we jump on Zoom with my family throughout the pandemic, and even now connecting with one another. Err on the side of over communicating. As a leader, in this new norm, specifically in the church, you need to understand it ain't just going to be in your pulpit that you're going to be communicating with your people, because some of them ain't even coming into the building no more. So if you're not willing to sit in front of the computer and learn how to communicate and, remove a lot of that fluff, because over here you can't do all of that. And you ain't pulling no Hammond organ in these spaces. I'm just saying. Sister Verlin, ain't no right and wrong tonight. You know what I mean? Bless your heart. You know what I mean? I ain't mad at you. I'm just saying the majority of folk ain't got no house phones. That's just keeping it 100. That's just an extra bill I don't need. That's all I'm saying, you know. Number six. Here it is. What did we lead? What did we learn in 2021 or relearn? That you got to learn how to live in the right now. Live in the moment. Live in the right now. You got to stop putting off your happiness. If folk cannot handle your greatness, so be it. Stop putting off. You got to learn how to live in the right now. Stop wasting your time and wasting your years. Enjoy your life now. Live your life now. You know, what's on your bucket list? What is it that you want to do? What is it that you want to discover? What is it that you want to learn? What do you want to see? What are some of the places that you want to go? Live in the now. And when you begin to live in the now, you'll discover your capacity to smile again. I'm not telling you something that I heard. I'm telling you something that I know. But you say actual, Judy. I did that for a long time. That's what they're trying to convince you, but it's really not true, because truth be told, if you cut, my boy Rod's in that profession, so I don't want to kill his money. But the reality is, I ain't got cable bill or phone bill, and I still talk on the phone, and I still see TV. That's just the reality, and that costs me a whopping $45. That's all I'm saying. I can still watch TV, all the shows that I want. I can get on this here internet anytime I want, and I can make phone calls anytime I want. So that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So see how I'm living in the moment? Yeah, I can do all of that. You know, sit down, watch all my shows. Yeah, Power Ghost, Love and Hip Hop. I mean, Love After Lockup. Yeah, I see all of them. Yes, I do. Don't pray for me. Pray for me. But them my shows. You feel what I'm saying? Anyway, so live in the right now. Live in the right now. That's number 6. Number seven. Here it is. Remain confident, but be flexible. I'm gonna let that one marinate a little while for y'all. Remain confident, but be flexible. In a world where people are trying to convince you that if you don't go to the building, if you will, you're not exercising your faith. I don't agree with that. Remain confident, but be flexible. You follow what I'm saying? So I can be confident in what it is that I'm doing, but I also understand in this new norm, I have to be willing to shift when it's time to shift. Matter of fact, what I love about this new norm is that I'm not regulated, that you all now know how we be moving. Hey, I can say one day we're going to do this, but situations change, and then I can say, nope, that's all changed up. We're going to do this. Where in the past people would be tripping. I need consistency. I need to know, what's happening ahead of time so that I can plan my schedule. Well, here's the reality, man. It ain't too much to be planned anymore. From that perspective, are you understanding what I'm saying? Because even the things that you're planning outside, football games, dinner, all of those things are calling for you to be confident but remain flexible. Because one night you can go to your favorite restaurant, and the next night they can say, "Oh, we closed down for business, and all we doing is offering takeout." But then when we get into ministry work, we want to know, what is the schedule? What is the time? When do I? Because I got to plan that out, huh? So ministry, we can't be flexible, but in all of our other spaces, we cool if they are. Do you know that in this bowl season, it has been consistent throughout the season? There would always be bowl games and everything. Do you know in this season, even right now, a lot of bowl games have been canceled? And they're constantly reevaluating, even as it relates to professional sports. We live in a world now where you have to be willing to be flexible to be able to survive in this new norm. So remain confident. Know that God is able. That God can do anything but fail. But you got to be willing to be flexible. What do I mean? Even as it relates to certain things, you know what I mean? You know, I'm just not so set on certain things that I can't be willing to say, you know what, that's just not an argument worth fighting about today. Okay, go ahead. Cool. Go ahead and do that. It's all good. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Remain confident, but be flexible. And then number 8, this is the final one, and I'm done. The final one, and I'm done. Yeah, number 8. Celebrate your victories. Hear me now. 2021, based on everything that I've said to you before, life is short. Everybody don't want to grow with you. Live in the right now. Communication. Just because you don't understand it doesn't mean it wrong. But when you win, celebrate your wins. Stop trying to be so humble that you don't take the time to smell your own roses. Let me say that again. You know, you hear that expression, folk talking about give folk their roses while they living and everything. But you know what? You ought to give your own self your own roses while you living. Celebrate. Number three, if you missed it, everybody don't want to grow with you. Number 4, just because you don't understand it don't mean that is wrong. You get that? Okay. 3, everybody don't want to grow with you. Number 4, just because you don't understand it doesn't mean that is wrong. And back to number 8, celebrate your wins. Man, if you made a dish that you've never made before and everybody in the house enjoyed that dish, it's all right to say, man, I did that thing. I did that thing. Yeah, it's all right to say that. If you went back to school and in your first class, you back in school after years of not being in school and you go in there and you crush it. You know, you get a high score throughout in that class, in that semester. It's all right to celebrate your win. Man, if you're sitting down and you're talking to somebody and you help them come through whatever they needed to come through, the Lord dropped some wisdom, gave you a little bit of knowledge in that moment. It's all right to celebrate that. Celebrate your wins. So many folk want us to be so humble that we never celebrate our moments of success. I'm not talking about being braggadocious. I'm not talking about any of that, but you ought to take the time to smell your own roses. Because we live in a world where so many people be trying to put you down and be trying to act like you ain't nobody and be trying to act like you ain't doing that. Listen, you got to tell yourself, I am somebody. You got to tell yourself, I did that thing. You've got to say to yourself, if you've overcome that thing that has been burdening you down for so long, and you overcame that, whether it be addiction, whether it be alcohol, whatever it is, you better learn how to Celebrate that thing. Hey, if you've been trying to learn the word of God and you done got a few scriptures up under your belt, you ought to give God glory and celebrate that thing. Stop trying to be so humble that you never take the time to celebrate your accomplishments. You've been on that job for 25 years and you retire, you better throw yourself a party. You better celebrate. Don't walk off of there like you ain't did that thing. Like you ain't got up every morning and went out there and went through all of that stuff that you had to go through to get there and to stay on up in there. All that stuff you had to take from some of them folk, but you held it down. You provided for your family. You better celebrate your wins. It's all right. Celebrate your wins. That's right, Nina Holmes. Sometimes you got to pop your own collars, especially in a world where folk don't want to give you credit for what you've done. So it's all right to celebrate your wins. Did y'all get all of those 8 things that we learned in 2021? Yeah. Is there anybody in the room who's going to celebrate your wins? There it is. Life is short. Limit your contact with toxic people. Everybody don't want to see you grow. Don't want to grow with you. Just because you don't understand it, don't mean that it's not wrong. Number 5, communication is big. Live in the right now. Remain confident, but be flexible and celebrate your wins. Hey, if this has added value to your life on tonight, won't y'all do me a favor and hit that star button tonight? Matter of fact, listen, I just talked about celebrating yourself. Man, listen, I just gave y'all them 5 pointers right there, and it was so good. I said it was so good. I'm going to give a star just because it was so good. I'm going to celebrate myself. Yes, I am. That's what I'm going to do. It's been so good. Matter of fact, it's been so good, I'm going to send another stars because I'm going to celebrate my wins. Hey, I appreciate each and every one of you all. I really do. Love you guys so much. Make sure that you tell somebody about tomorrow night. Hey, we're going to have a wonderful time. Hey, get you a stream, get you a hat. Matter of fact, I got my hat right back there that I'm going to have on, you know what I mean, for tomorrow night. Yeah, as we bring in and celebrate coming out of 2021 into 2022 prayerfully, right? Let's continue to encourage one another. Let's continue to lift up one another. Let's continue to strengthen one another as we move into 2022 by faith, life streaming together. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Life streaming together. So, hey, love you guys so much. If this word has added value to your life, make sure that you tag, text, and tell somebody that you would share with somebody. Tell them to get connected with Way's Word of the Day. Yeah, Way's Word of the Day. We're here every night, 8 p.m. Hey, let's close out this way all week long, man. I've been just feeling like, the old standards and everything like this. And I thought about this one. Let me know if you enjoy it. Here we go.
Heaven, send down from glory. Many things you were on earth, the Holy King and a carpenter, but you are the living word. Oh, Lord, yeah. Awesome ruler, gentle redeemer, no, the living truth, and what a
man, I'm out of here.
we have.
I don't know why the video ain't coming through, but anyway, hey. Wade's Word of the Day every night, 8 p.m. Make sure that you tell somebody. I got to go. Talk to y'all real soon. Peace.